I don't hate Tim because we're both two bald white brothers. But I actually am enjoying this conversation. But even though I've been called retarded, that's okay.
You can't do that. I'm mixed race. You can't. You're oppressing me for the same reason that people probably support Obama murdering children. The issue is
about Kamala. Name me one thing that Kamala Harris has done in her life.
Let's slow down and say the issue at hand is. We always call this the lesser of two evils, and we could take a look at Donald Trump being slovenly and perverted and whatever you want to call him, and these are bad things. And I'm like, wow, this is why I didn't vote for him in 2016. And then you can take a look at what else you're up against, and you've got Joe Biden, warmongering crony who sold out this country to his brother for Iraqi contracts and 10% of the big guy, and the list goes on. You can take a look at the extension of the Obama administration, where Obama killed tons of children. He has the record for most children murdered by a Nobel Peace Prize holder. And most notably was the extrajudicial assassinations of Anwar al-Awlaki and Abdurrahman al-Awlaki. Now, you can make the arguments about Anwar al-Awlaki being a jihadi, but he was an American and we have due process. But then you get Abdurrahman al-Awlaki, who was a 16-year-old American citizen who was at a civilian restaurant in Yemen, and Obama blew him up. And when Obama was asked about it, he said, oops. And so they come to me and say, Trump's a pig. And I'm like, yeah, you got that right.
So first of all,
and then I've got to choose who I'm voting for on this one. And I'm going to tell you, you know what? They all suck.
Well, Trump didn't run against Barack Obama, and I didn't vote for Barack Obama.
Biden,
I'm not here to defend Barack Obama.
No, I'm talking about
Joe
Donald
Trump because you support Donald Trump.
Indeed. And
you're okay with supporting a pig who probably sexually abused a lot of people, who was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He was best friends
Now you're making things up.
Found liable in a court of law for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. His own wife.
Play this game?
His own wife.
You don't want to play
a game.
You don't know the facts of the case.
Okay, well, let's talk about the 25 other women.
No, let's do the E. Jean Carroll thing.
Okay. So Barack Obama.
Tell me what happened.
So hold on. Barack Obama's. I will.
No, you brought it up.
Barack Obama is a murderer, and yet he was never convicted. It never was shown in a court of law. Nothing ever proven. But you can make blatant statements, Tim.
I'm not retarded.
That Barack. Oh, I'm not retarded either. Okay, I'm a pretty smart guy.
When a court of law says a thing is true, that doesn't mean it's true.
Gotcha. So unproven in a court of law, but Barack Obama's a murderer, and you're totally okay saying that. But Donald Trump never sexually abused anybody, even though liably found guilty in a court of law.
Let's slow down a minute. See, I'm
just asking you.
This is the issue with liberals. You don't know.
I'm not a liberal. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm a registered independent. You just called me a liberal. Let's be factually accurate, Tim.
The left.
Okay, I'm not the left.
You don't know.
I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton.
You are left.
Okay, well, you can say that, and I can call you a hard MAGA right. But it doesn't mean that you're right.
Too. But there's clearly distinct factions in the culture war, and there's a left and a right, which defines the overall.
I don't like sexual abusers. I would never vote for somebody like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Well, you did.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So Donald Trump never sexually abused anybody.
Tell me
the 25 women lied. His own ex-wife in court documents in a deposition. She under oath. His ex-wife said that he raped her.
You know your issue.
He went into teenage girls' locker rooms without their permission.
Bad things. Yeah, bad things.
Oh, that's just bad.
Those are real bad. Those are real bad.
Locking the keys in my car is a bad thing. That's despicable.
So you have a daughter. Tell me the case.
You have a daughter. Well, hold on a second. I just talked about going into teenage girls' locker rooms. No, you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't? You don't.
Donald Trump bragged about it on the Howard Stern show. Which case? E. Jean Carroll?
E. Jean Carroll.
So you want to go through the case.
You said proven in a court case. I said, tell me about it.
The jury found him liable.
You can't.
The jury found him liable.
You can't.
The jury did. They found him liable.
Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. If you keep making non sequiturs,
it's not a non sequitur.
It is, because I asked you a question. You've ignored it.
I haven't ignored it.
What was the case?
So here's what I know about the case. Okay, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Unlike Barack Obama, which you had mentioned, he's a murderer. You don't want to talk about the fact that that's never been proven in a court of law. But what
does that have to do with what I asked you? Tell me about the E. Jean Carroll case.
Because a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. I don't have to know everything about the case.
No, you just present what you're told.
To you. No, I believe in our justice system.
Let's do this.
I believe in our justice system.
Here's how I operate. I will hear a claim and I will fact check it.
Sure.
And try and dig through the facts to see if there's merit. You will believe what you're told.
So everything on the right when it comes to Donald Trump, there's no merit to it, even though he's a convicted 34-count felon. But those were made up. Right, sure. And then
you don't even know the crime.
I don't have to know the crime to know that a jury found him guilty in a court of law. You can disagree with the outcome.
You do.
I disagree with the OJ.
Nelson Mandela was a criminal too. He got locked up.
Hey, sometimes the justice system gets it wrong. I think we could agree on that.
So if you
not my type is a better defense than the glove doesn't fit, I think.
I think the question, you know what? We can just pause right here and say to everybody who's listening, I think my point is I can tell you the facts of these cases and why I have doubts, and you don't know anything about them.
So here's a fact. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. You can disagree with it, but you can say incorrect till the cows come home. He wasn't sentenced, but he was convicted on 34 felony counts. Now you can disagree with that. Okay, you can disagree.
Name the crime.
That's fine.
Name the crime.
You don't have to name the crime.
Yes,
He's
you
a
do.
34-count felon.
You have to name the crime.
Okay. Well, listen.
So again, I will say it to the audience. He doesn't even know what the charge was. He doesn't know who was accused of falsifying what.
I named you a few. I don't have all 34 charges in front of me, but it doesn't. Just because I can't name the charges.
Wouldn't it be prudent of you to actually investigate these things before parroting them to a large audience?
I'm not parroting them. All I'm simply saying.
You can't even explain what your position is.
Just because. Okay.
What did Trump? Okay, let me try this. Let's slow down. What do you think Trump did wrong in that case?
You're talking about E. Jean Carroll, or are you talking about
no the business records case? What did he do wrong?
Well, falsifying business records was what he was charged with.
No, what specifically did he do wrong?
What specific?
What do you take
falsifying
issue
records? With? Falsifying records.
Which records? I'm asking you the specifics of what did you find that he did wrong.
Here's my point.
You don't have an answer for it?
I'm going to answer it for you.
Are you going to give me a specific example, or are you going to change the subject again?
I'm not changing the subject. We're talking about this.
So what did Trump do wrong? Say Trump did thing. Tell me.
Okay. Here's the answer that I'm going to give you. I don't know all the ins and outs of this case.
Well, then why are we talking?
Here's what I do know. Regardless of what your opinions are on the case and what you might think are valid that he didn't do anything wrong, what you might think are valid that he never sexually abused a woman, here's the bottom line, whether you like it or not. A jury found him guilty on 34 counts that you obviously disagree with. Whether I know the ins and outs of the case is irrelevant.
Yep.
The fact of the matter is that he is a 34-count felon. The fact of the matter is that he's a liable sexual abuser. Liable.
Actually, so this is actually legally distinct he
wasn't sentenced. I understand.
Therefore, he's not a felon.
I understand that.
There has to be the final.
I understand.
Right, so he's not a felon.
I've said that multiple times.
So we agree he's not a felon.
Okay. The reason why he wasn't sentenced is because he won the presidency.
Well, it's under appeal, actually, and it's been over a year since the appellate court was prepared to issue their ruling.
I'll tell you what.
Done it.
If he wins his appeal, I will come on this show and I will say, Tim, I was wrong.
Well, no, right. Hold on. We agree, though. He's not yet a felon until he's sentenced.
He wasn't sentenced. I've said that multiple times. A jury convicted him on 34 felony counts.
Of what?
Again, there you go back again, trying to quiz me on what the.
Okay, here's my point.
That's the only point I
don't know why you're here.
I don't know what you mean.
We're not debating.
Okay, well,
a debate's like this. Donald Trump did a backflip, and here's why it was wrong. Well, actually, backflips have been long protected. I'm saying Donald Trump was accused of these specific things, and you say, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, then we're not having a debate.
No.
You're just saying I read in the news Trump was convicted, and I say, okay.
Okay, well.
It's important to drill down because then you can compare it to other similar situations and whether people have been charged by that. And then that's the way that you can suss out whether it was lawfare or something
indeed,
unusual.
But even outside of that, it's that when an individual is convicted of a crime, it is prudent of a society to analyze whether or not this is a legitimate use of the judiciary, of our legal system.
So you don't like people that accuse other people of things.
And the point I'm making is, I don't believe law dictates morality. I don't believe just because something is legal, it is correct. And I don't blindly trust when an authority figure says, trust me, this person's bad. That's why I oppose the death penalty, because there's going to be some authority figure says, you don't need the facts of the case, kill this man. I'm going to say no. So in the issue of Donald Trump in New York, he was not actually legitimately charged under any crime, and it's unprecedented in U.S. history. Trump was charged under 34 counts of misdemeanor, falsification of business records with no underlying crime. They then said, okay, I guess, upgrade it to a felony. Everybody said, well, hold on a minute. This is why it's currently in appeal, because Trump was never actually charged with the underlying crime required for an aggravated charge. It's never happened before.
So let's just say you're 100% right and I'm 100% wrong. Let's just assume that for a moment. I'm not quite sure, but let's just assume that for a moment. I was talking also about the moralities of the case, and you were asking me about E. Jean Carroll. And while I don't want to go into the details of that case, I wasn't there.
You don't know either.
Okay, but he was.
I do.
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier.
What was he accused of doing?
He was found liable for sexual.
What does that mean? What did he do?
Judge characterized it as rape, as penetrating her with his fingers. A jury found that he was liable. Now, I wasn't there. You weren't there. But here's what I do know.
What year did it take place?
I don't recall. It was many years ago. But
it was 30 years ago.
But the point is, he has a track record with how he has treated women from a moral standpoint.
How was it? Let me ask you this question. How was it that E. Jean Carroll was able to bring a case 30 years after the fact?
You're asking me how?
It's very important to the case.
Okay, well,
it's actually a key component.
So by your argument, Bill Cosby's never raped anybody before.
I asked you a question.
And by your logic, because it was 30 years ago, it couldn't have happened. Why are you asking me that?
You're changing the subject again.
No, you're asking me 30 years.
I think the issue is you're so ignorant on these issues.
I don't think I'm ignorant at all. I think you're.
So then what was the pretext?
You're unwilling to put any responsibility on Donald Trump for anything.
What was the pretext? Trump is wrong. Trump is bad. We've already agreed. He's done bad things.
Wrong and bad and illegal are different things.
So and this is a liability case, not a legality case, not a criminal case.
Sure.
So the pretext by which the case came about is extremely important in law, and I'm asking you the details because you don't know. I presume you don't know, and that's why you hold this position.
Okay. All I said to you, and you want to quiz me on these cases, but I
don't know what you're talking about.
Tim, is he a liable sexual abuser? Yes or no?
No.
So he's not a felon. He's not a liable sexual abuser.
Oh, well, actually, let me clarify. If I get 3 guys to come in here with badges on and they say you're a rapist, are you a rapist?
If I'm found liable in a court of law, I could be liable for sexual abuse.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure if 3 cops came in here and it was presented in a courtroom, my attorneys would defend me. And
what if I paid off a judge?
Oh, so you're saying Trump paid off? Or I'm sorry,
I'm not.
Carroll paid. Okay.
I'm asking you a question to understand your moral worldview.
That's not a non sequitur.
I'm asking you a question to determine what your moral worldview is.
Sure.
You keep changing the subject and interrupting when I ask these questions.
Apologies. Go ahead.
If a judge is bribed and finds you liable of rape, are you a rapist?
If it's proven that a judge has been bribed, then obviously you would probably win on appeal, right?
What if the judge brought the case illegally?
Is that right? Is that fair?
Well, perhaps you would. I mean, the question was, would you be a rapist? Would you consider a person to be a rapist if a judge was paid off to do it?
Not if it's proven that a judge was paid off.
But we don't know.
Was the judge paid off?
In this instance, we don't know. I'm just asking you, in a circumstance where a judge it's not a legitimate ruling,
if it's
the ruling itself
lacks merit. I'm answering your question. If it's proven obviously that if a judge is paid off, then obviously.
What if a judge brought the case illicitly? Meaning it wasn't actually able to be brought into a court, but he did anyway.
Okay, so being bribed and your opinion of being illicitly brought are 2 completely different things.
So I'm asking these questions. If a judge brought forth a case, or I should say, a case was brought to a judge that did not have legal merit to be entered into court of law, and we're doing it anyway, and then said, you're a rapist, is that legitimate?
I know where you're going with this.
Where am I going?
And you're making the case that's what happened here in the E. Jean Carroll case.
I'm trying to suss out your moral worldview on when do you determine that an act of the judiciary is not actually legal?
If that's proven. If it could be proven that way.
So the court. So
yep.
You
asked me the judge question. I gave you my best.
The point of this is, if your argument is the very blanket, a guy said a thing, we can certainly agree a guy said a thing. If the question is, did Trump in a legitimate setting face these claims and convictions? The answer is no. And I can break it all down fact by fact, detail by detail. Specifically with the E. Jean Carroll case, there's numerous factors as to why this is meritless. Notably, that the New York State legislature passed, it might have been, I think it was the state, passed a law allowing claims beyond the statute of limitations for a period of 1 year to be brought up for civil action. The only person who picked it up was E. Jean Carroll, and then it disappeared. This is lawfare. Additionally, E. Jean Carroll's story made literally no sense. She claimed to have been wearing clothes that didn't exist. She claimed to have access to rooms that she did not have access to. And Trump, the most famous man in New York, instead of going into his hotel across the street from the Bergdorf Goodman, went into a crowded building where there was no one for this one period for no reason. None of it made sense. And we can sit here and say, well, that story is certainly strange, but why did she claim to have clothes that didn't come? Why was she claiming to be wearing clothes that didn't even exist at the time? A specific dress that wasn't released until years later. More importantly, she didn't have a key to that room, nor did Trump. And she also said the Bergdorf Goodman, one of the busiest stores in New York, had no people in it. So you then say, I find that all to be credible. Okay. And the New York State legislature passed a law allowing her to bring it.
I never said that.
So why would you agree with this stuff?
The only thing that I said, Tim, was that he is a liable sexual abuser. Now, we could have disagreements on whether you think it's credible or not. I asked you the question very simply.
And here's my worldview on government. I think when government makes claims, they have to prove it. And if they can't, I wouldn't do it. So when I see a guy who's clearly innocent on death row, I don't call him a murderer. I say they have cheated an innocent man. I call him an innocent man. When Kamala
the Parkland Five, right? They're innocent.
We're not arguing the Parkland Five.
Okay.
My point is when you have people on death row, I oppose the death penalty, who are innocent, I won't call them a murderer. If the state falsifies evidence, and they've done this on numerous occasions to imprison innocent people, the state is the criminal. The prosecutors are the criminals.
I think here's where
and they need to be in prison.
Tim, sorry to interrupt. I think this is where our disagreement is. while we have a lot of different disagreements on, Donald Trump, whether he's a criminal or not, the fact of the matter still stands. He was found liable for sex. Doesn't mean that it's credible, Tim. I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying here.
No. So I clarified that point. The difference between us is you trust government. I don't.
I don't trust government 100%.
But you trust them enough to convict people.
Here's what I
don't.
Here's what I will say, Tim. Okay,
and that's fine.
Here's what I will say, Tim, and then I'm sure you want to move on to some other stuff, but I don't always trust government. All I'm simply saying is I gave you my moral.
Yeah, government said so, and you agree.
Well, it's not just about government. It's about his behavior. It's about the things he says. It's about the things he does. I think it's an embarrassment.
I think you're emotionally offended by Trump as a character. So you're willing to entertain illicit government action because you don't like the man?
No, I think there's a lot of reasons why I don't like Donald Trump. There's a policy standpoint of it, and then there's the moral standpoint of it.
What other policies don't you like?
Atrocious human being, okay? An atrocious human being. I think maybe we agree on that. I don't know.
This is the distinction.
Would you agree he's a really bad guy?
No, I wouldn't say that.
He's not a bad guy.
You said you've just changed.
Good father, good husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he is a great father.
Having unprotected sex with a porn star 2 weeks after Barron is born, that you think that's a good father?
I don't think a single action could define a man who's got great kids who have been very successful. I think people are neither absolutely good or absolutely evil. There's varying degrees of whether someone could be good, bad, or otherwise. And Donald Trump has certainly done things that knock him down a peg or two and bring him down to the lower tier, but he's done a pretty good job with his family, indeed. I mean, look at the success they have. His kids are well-adjusted, successful individuals.
3 different lives, yeah.
C'est la vie, I suppose.
Even Hillary Clinton on the debate stage said he's a good father.
This weird, puritanical argument doesn't work on me. I'm not a conservative.
I didn't say you were.
Right. So when you say Donald Trump banged a lot of people, I'll be like, certainly did.
I just don't think he's a very good person.
That's the narrative context of all this, right? Because the big thing the Dems blamed Hillary's loss on in 2016 was that she was accused of being a felon. And they thought that made a big difference. And it did make a difference. But they thought that if they could throw that felon label onto Trump, then there was an opportunity to get that to do the same thing that happened to Hillary. But they don't realize there were a lot more intangibles under that besides the felony accusation, which is why Trump was able to spin it as outlaw. And also the law is important, I think. I agree, the law is important, which is why it's so important that we really suss out whether there's political lawfare, because that undermines the whole trust in the entire legal system, and then you just have chaos.
Mm-hmm.